Tub Talks with Damon, back in Brooklyn for season 5. And my special guest in the tub today is New York icon, legend, amazing artist figure, Justin Russo.
Hi, thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me in your tub and, for being naked.
We're naked together after all these years.
It's been a long time coming.
I've been so excited to have you as a guest. You have been someone who I consider to be such a wonderful part of the New York experience. Certainly anyone in nightlife who has been in nightlife, worked in nightlife, has experienced your positivity, your smile, and the drain is letting some water out. But I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
Before we get into your amazing accomplishments and contributions, just feel free to move around. Oh, we got our favorite ducky here. Before we get into all of that, Justin, I want to ask you, what do you like most about your body?
I'm going to go with my hair.
Yes! Tell me.
And lack thereof.
Yes!
I love my chest hair. And I love the body hair down to my...
Let's show the people. Yes, a lot. We got a lot
of hair everywhere.
Yes.
My beard, my pits.
Yes.
It's on my back wings, on my ass.
Love hearing that.
It's something that I always hated as a kid. I remember getting my first armpit hair when I was 12, and I freaked out and I cried to my mom, and I knew it was time to become an adult. And we're Italian. I'm Italian, and it kind of onset early, which was unexpected. And now I embrace it. I love it, and I have to tell you, a lot of people embrace it. Hair is really popular.
Yes.
It's very in vogue, and I'm never going to shave it. I'm never going to trim it. I love it. The first time when I came out at 22, I narrowed my back.
Ooh.
And I thought it was what I need to do to fit in. And then the bear scene came out and became big right when I was coming out, and I found my tribe. Here we are.
Wow, how old are you now?
39.
39. Okay, so about 17 years ago,
Yep.
when you came out, you felt pressure, or what I call the should,
Yep.
to not have body hair.
Yep.
And do you remember, was a certain person saying that to you? Was this culture or media in general?
Totally cultural. I just remember, I grew up on Long Island, even though my family's been in Williamsburg since 1890, so very New York. And I didn't really have many gay icons to look up to. I didn't really have much of a presence. Long Island is very red, and it is much more closed-minded than many people would think, for being so close to the most liberal city in the States. And I never really felt like I could be myself, and I didn't really have anyone to look up to except for what I saw on TV, and there wasn't much on TV at that time.
Right.
In movies.
Right.
And all I saw were these pretty boys, Abercrombie and Fitch, were in the era of toxic masculinity, and nobody had hair or anything. It was just...
Right. So that Abercrombie and Fitch model, we're talking like circa 2008, 2009, that was a very limited, young, hairless ideal that they were putting out there to try to sell stuff. So you as a young person coming out saw those models and thought, what, you should look like that?
Not even just in terms of hair-wise, but body. I had, at that time, I was 260 pounds. I always was lean, and then I blew up, I guess, as I put down myself and didn't want to be gay. I kept waking up every day and prayed to God that I wouldn't be gay, and just because I thought it was incorrect and was bad, and I never wanted to be bad. And in turn, it came out in the way I looked and how I felt and what I presented, I guess. And I always put on a smile, and because I love people and get energized by them, and so I shouldn't hurt them and my own. I just hurt myself more and took it out on myself, and I took it out on some Big Macs.
What?
Took it out on some Big Macs.
So was it like stress eating?
Yeah. When I came out, actually, I lost 40 pounds in 3 months. Just
how did you do that?
Nothing. It just came off. I swear to God.
Because you weren't stress eating?
Yeah, it was not even stress eating. It felt like a weight was lifted. It was great.
When you came out, were people in your life generally accepting?
Yeah. My dad's response was, quote, "Now we know why you have hemorrhoids." As a total joke. He's meaning that he understood why I was having sex and.
Okay. So you were having anal sex before you officially came out?
No.
Or he just was joking about it?
He was just joking. His whole point, and what I loved about my dad, is that he was very accepting to me, and no matter who I was, and always was the one who understood me most. Yeah. And he didn't care what I became. He supported me to become an artist. He supported me when I was gay. He supported me if I wanted to, fly around the world. He would do that.
Wow. Okay. I want to ask about him, but before we do, I'm just very interested in knowing how you were able to come out and shift that thinking from the sort of Abercrombie and Fitch shame-based model to, as you said, really saying, I like my body, I like my hair, and I'm not going to change this for anybody. What happened for that to happen?
I think I started finding people who were akin to me. I remember the first gay bar I went to was Nowhere Bar.
Yeah!
And I went with my college mentor, who still lives around the corner from me, and he told me to come to Astoria to visit him where he lived, where I live, and he sort of helped coax me out of the closet. Sorry, that's the wrong word. He guided me out, and he just by asking the exact right questions and saying that people really care about you and are worried about how you want to present yourself, and it was like the right moment, and it just made me feel seen. And from there, he guided me through the coming out process and then becoming a gay man that felt comfortable in his own skin. So he took me to my first gay bar, and said,
Which was Nowhere?
Which is Nowhere.
Oh.
Said, this is what, this is what you can have. This is like, it was a bear night.
Uh-huh.
And so this is,
They still have those. Nowhere Bar. Cheers to Nowhere Bar. We're so glad they're still here.
A great bar.
Yeah.
I love the ceilings.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, and I felt like I wasn't alone.
Wow.
That's a great feeling I think any human doesn't want to be lonely. We're not meant to be lonely creatures.
And you mentioned then there was a shift in the community and the culture that allows you to say, I don't have to shave or nair.
Yeah. So I consider myself an ombudsman. That time between 2008 and I say my nightlife career lasted about 20 years. It's still going to a different degree, but I document everything. I take photographs, I keep papers, ticket stubs. That period in New York nightlife was sort of strange, and in gay world, it was this transition. It was a shift. Roxy and the Tunnel, they all closed down. There was nothing really going. There were big parties. There was one party, and I've been trying to remember the name. You may know it. It was run by Bob Mould, who used to be the lead in Husker Du. Blow Off.
Uh-huh.
Okay. There it is. I've been trying to remember that for years.
Blow Off.
And that was like the last big bear party, and it was like you would walk in and there's 400 bears, and I think that's when the bear culture became something really novel and more intricate than people gave credit for. People said, okay, hair is in, beards are in, and from then on, I think it's sort of just become embedded and woven into our culture.
Yeah.
It was interesting to be part of an experience, and sort of, let's just say I haven't shaved my beard since I was 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel like scruff contributed to normalizing, eroticizing bears
Absolutely.
and hairy bodies?
Absolutely. I will make a claim to fame here that I was one of Scruff's original models.
Yes!
In 2014.
Oh, wow.
It was, I think that they had such a brilliant idea. And it was so different from an app like Grindr, for instance, which was around, or there's Ada for Ada, there was men.com, oh my God, gay.com. And that's where I first started. And it was these guys who looked like me. And then Scruff was just, it blew my mind, because there were these guys, exactly what I really was interested in, and the type of guys that I wanted to go out with.
Yeah. And the kind of guys who appreciated you in your natural form.
Yep.
Right? Without shaving or plucking or nairing.
I think that ultimately, too, when you start, and this is something that has taken me 39 years to really grasp and to get, and the pieces have always been there, and they've gotten closer and closer, but when you accept who you are and you like who you are, other people sense that, and you radiate it, and so they're drawn to you. And I think that it also counts with sex and dating.
How's that? Same way.
The same way. I think if you are happy in your skin, and you wake up and you say, I look damn good and I feel damn good, and maybe you don't have all the answers, but you just it's a feeling, and it's like effervescence,
Right?
And it's, you walk down the street with like a bantam cock and you're feeling good, and people pick up on that, and I think that's the key to like finding people you want to date, and sex and whatever it is that you want.
Right. So let's say that again for people who are distracted. When you feel good in yourself, when you look in the mirror and say, I look sexy, literally that attracts
Absolutely.
other people. It's kind of like a magnet, right?
You
start to attract people that also are like, dang, I mean,
it's a law of attraction.
Yeah.
I think that this year, like 39, I sort of made a big transition in my life, and made a bold move in terms of what I was doing, and decided to go into therapy full time and really deal with some things that have happened and really get to understand who I am. And I've been fortunate enough that I can do it. And with that, I absolutely have found who I am as a whole.
Okay.
I'm a Gemini. Triple Gemini. Actually.
Meaning?
My birthday is 666.
Oh, 666, okay.
There are two Justins, and I've always been led by one. And the other one finally said, I need to be heard. Came together, and I feel whole. And this year I've been experiencing the only word I can describe it, kismet, over and over. Kismet, for those who don't know, is a Turkish word that means essentially the mixture of fate and serendipity put together. You meet the person you're supposed to meet exactly when you're supposed to meet them. And you vibrate. It could be romantic, it could be friendship, it could be opportunity, and you connect. And I think it's because I'm finally really fully happy with who I am and what I have to offer.
So that therapy has offered you a chance to integrate
Absolutely.
these two
Absolutely.
Justins.
Yep.
Who are these two Justins? May I ask you about
Absolutely.
that? Who are these two different people?
There's Justin 1,
Yeah.
who is the gregarious people pleaser. He's somebody who wants to make sure everybody else is happy. And I mean people pleaser not in the sense of kowtowing to other people, but ensuring that their needs go before his own. And he's pretty much the one who is a social beast, who thrives in places like nightlife, and who is always trying to be as happy as possible. And then there's Justin 2, who's, I guess, the darker one. And as a kid, especially, I never wanted to be the bad boy. So I always was the golden boy. And Justin 2 is somebody who likes sadness, he cries. He's somebody who likes darker things like sex and exploring what that means. He's somebody who maybe needs to be alone a little bit. And it feels really good to actually listen to this Justin, who I've been ignoring for a while.
So that second Justin sometimes needs to be heard,
Absolutely.
respected. Sometimes just needs to cry.
All the time. And I always hid it because he just was ashamed about that part of me. Because if it wasn't bright and sunny, then it wasn't worth sharing. And I now learned that there's not a Justin 1, there's not a Justin 2. In essence, I'm just Justin.
So these are both fundamental and beautiful parts of who you are. But they both get your time and your respect.
Now especially. And I think actually for all these years, Justin 1 was taking the lead because he's a little more bossy. And Justin 2 finally raised his voice.
How did Justin 2 finally get his voice raised and heard and seen?
I'll be very honest here. I had a substance abuse problem, and I attempted my life in September of 2024, so it's coming up in a year soon. And I reached a point after having, having had so many wonderful experiences, I sort of burnt out. I was going out and trying to be there for everybody. I was working a high-powered job. I had my artwork. I had the TV show. It was it didn't hit me how much it was going. And people always would say you're burning both ends of the candle. And I had a lot of run-ins with scares of possibly dying. I had an accidental overdose of Ambien back in 2021. I just got sick and was intubated for 2 days. It was in a coma.
Was that a suicide attempt?
No. I had a suicide attempt in 2013. And then I had this one in September, so I've had 3 brushes with that.
Okay.
And that's not to make light of anything. It's also not to say that I've had it very wonderfully compared to other people in life.
Mm-hmm. What did you do in 2013?
2013, I was going through my first love heartbreak. I had lost my job a week after, and then I was diagnosed with colon cancer scare. And something just was sucked out of me. And I think it was really the first true love loss. And I just couldn't find who I was, and I didn't know anymore. So I was 26. And my depression, which I do suffer from severe depression and anxiety, took over, and I couldn't function. And that year in general is a blur. I don't remember anything other than walking down the street and just feeling like a ghost. And nobody wants to feel that way. You want to feel present, and it was scary.
What was Justin 2 trying to say to you then?
Listen, I'm trying to tell you I need help, and I need to be heard. And if you go through your pain instead of trying to go around it, which I always did, then you'd actually learn a lot more about yourself.
Beautiful. Okay, so what did you do to try to kill yourself in 2013?
I tried to swallow several amounts of pills, and something clicked in me to call my girlfriend at the time, who was his therapist, and was able to stop the attempt mid-go.
Okay.
And
she called for help?
no, we just talked through it, and then it was after that I went to see my therapist at that time for the first time, and finally began to get help that he needed.
Okay. How are you doing talking
Great.
about this? Is this okay?
It's like nothing.
Okay.
We don't talk about things like this that are taboo.
Yeah.
Then we don't learn, and we don't help anyone else who may need it.
Yeah. And I think your generosity in sharing this experience will help people who are having similar experiences.
It's
Okay.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's sort of become part of who I am, and I think that in September, when I attempted my life and with a little more skill and dexterity this time, I hate saying that, but
how did you try?
I tried to OD on some substances, and it knocked me out.
Mm-hmm.
So it did work to an extent, but I was able to be checked into the ER, and I checked myself in, and it was.
And how did you call for help? Did someone else call for help?
Yeah, luckily, my roommate at the time just happened to be home and saw what was going on. In all truth, I was dating somebody at the time, very newly, and I had called for his help and said that I really need you to be here, and he couldn't and didn't come. And in the end, I get that I put him in a situation that isn't the best, but if someone is asking for help, try to do what you can. With that said, he couldn't be there because it was, for whatever reasons, I can't hold a grudge. I can't, behold him to something that is unfair, I guess. And I wouldn't.
Is this someone who's still in your life?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So back in September.
Yeah.
What happened for you? What were you going through emotionally that led you to take that step?
So I will say that the last 2 years, 2023 and 2024, are easily the most painful of my life. I got to a point where in my going out life, my work life, everything, I was going so hard. I just burnt out, and my addiction to some drugs got pretty terrible.
Which drugs?
Cocaine is a big one. Uppers in general are more me. I like pep, I like to be happy, and I like to keep going. And
that sort of nurtures Justin number one.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was cocaine use. And
How about meth?
I had tried it. I have tried it.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I had not. I always avoided it because it was so toxic and was hurting so many people, and I just didn't want to get near it. And then sometimes something shifts in your brain and you give up, and that's sort of what happened to me. My cocaine use was getting bad. My ability to cope with life was becoming non-existent, and I had to leave my job. And I got into such a deep depression that ostensibly I couldn't leave my apartment for about 9 months. The only thing that got me out of bed was doing cocaine. So I lost my job. I sort of recoiled from all these friends that I had in my life. I then had a minor car accident. I couldn't create. My artist block kicked in. I was in the time of Throuble, which came to an end in January 2024, which was actually a good thing for me. And then my partner of 5 years left in May of 2024 because he couldn't watch me continue to crumble. And that is in deference to him. He's a good man, and he did what he could to try to help. But sometimes you can't help somebody unless they really want it. And I didn't want anything because I didn't see beyond my sadness. And I couldn't even fathom what it would be like to have joy. It got that dark. And in the end, I'm really glad that all that happened, because it's part of me, and you grow and learn. And because of that, I now am the most happy and fulfilled that I've ever been.
Okay. So what happened in September last year, coming up almost a year now, was really a progression. It was a downward slope of things.
I just hit the breaking point. And I lost my father to suicide in 2017.
Okay.
When he took his life, we found out that he had a whole other life. And we lost everything as a family, fiscally, our hearts, everything. Somebody who lies and says that they care about their family and then hurts them almost purposely to save themselves. He was putting us in opening loans in my name. He stole my identity. He did some things that were callous and cowardly, but he also had to survive in his own way. And he was hurting, and this is his way of coping. And I love him very much. And I always forgave him, and I thought that by forgiving him, you got through the pain, and I didn't really cope with it. And at some point in September, I got the idea that my father was correct, and that I should be with him because he's the person that really got me the most. And that's what I decided. And now, no, it's quite different. I think because the last thing my father said to me, he called me the day before he passed, and he said that I'm twice the man that he is, and that he wishes he was only a bit as good as I am, and that I will get everything I want out of life because I deserve it. And I saw that as an onus almost at first, because it's heavy, and it's sort of, thinking he almost sacrificed himself in order to give me something better than he had for his own life. And I felt guilty for that. And now I own it, and I wear it, and I think that he's correct with what he said, that I will get what I want out of life because I work for it, I love openly, and I think anyone can get that.
Thank you for sharing this.
You're welcome.
How are you feeling right now?
Fine, honestly. It's become sort of second nature. It's part of my story. It's part of a lot of people's stories.
Yes, it is. And as you said earlier, we don't talk about these things enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How did your father take his life?
By hanging.
Okay. Were you there?
No.
reached out kind of to say goodbye to you before that.
He called 6 times that day before, which isn't unusual. My family's very close and very Italian. So, if I don't speak to my mom once a day, still at 39, she sends out the police force.
And so he had been living this other life that you and your family did not know about. And you were not aware that he had stolen your ID or...
No, because, certain things happen where you trust your father to guide you, and I was sort of given misinformation and believed him because I had no reason not to.
What would you like to be able to say to him right now?
That I love you and thank you. That's it. There's no ill will, there's no hurt, and there's pain, but it's, I guess, more pain that he had to suffer and he had to feel this way. But at the same time, that's his story, and he did what he felt was his way of coping, and I'm doing it my way. I'm living and taking life again by the balls. Anti-maiming right now.
Am I?
I'm pulling an anti-maim.
Yeah. Life live. Alright. So that sounds like that came as quite a shock when he died, and then you learned about all these other aspects of his life. And that contributed to your own spiral for the last couple of years prior.
And definitely subconsciously, because you put it in the back of your head, and I luckily have wonderful people in my life who took care of me, especially in my time of need. And I just tried to breeze through it. I threw myself into a relationship, into social goings on, work, art, whatever I could do to not have to feel pain and be sad, because I didn't want Justin 2 to have any breathing room.
Right, so Justin 2 was saying, I need you to let me feel pain. And you were trying to avoid that at all costs.
Absolutely.
Did people in your life know that you were going through such pain?
Not until a little later. I think they understood, okay, here's where you're at with your father. That makes sense. You're grieving. But when a few years pass and you're still kind of sad and you start to show it a little more, I was getting weary. I was just getting tired, and I couldn't put on a face anymore, which I never like to be dishonest in how I present myself and how I am towards others, but I also don't want to, because I never want to be the sad Justin. So I started being more open about it and talking about my pain. And some people weren't receptive to the idea that there's a depressed person around. And it was very simple to say, go to therapy and deal with it, or even go for a walk. That one sucked.
So people telling you what to do was not necessarily the most helpful thing. What would have been helpful, or what do you imagine could have been helpful for you while you were going through the spiral?
I think just saying, you do you. And when you're ready, we're here, and you keep doing you. And I think the same applies today for me.
That's the kind of help that is helpful.
I don't do
you.
I don't do tough love.
Yeah.
At all. And it actually makes me recoil, and I feel really ashamed. I don't like advice, but admittedly, I'm stubborn, and I like to think that I came up with the idea. And sometimes that's a trickery. But it's just, anything that's gentle is how I thrive.
During this time that you were going through the spiral, were you in therapy at all?
Yes. Yeah, I was seeing my therapist.
Were you able to share with your therapist, or did you have that ability to articulate kind of Justin 2's needs the way you can today?
I did not, because I didn't realize that, I always knew that I was Gemini, but I didn't realize that there was such a divide between these two traits.
Was the therapist able to understand or comprehend the severity of the pain you were going through?
Yes, for sure.
So you took this action in September.
Mm-hmm.
What was the aftermath of that? What was after you had taken the pills?
I'd taken the pills, I went to the ER, and my 2 ex-boyfriends came and sort of sat with me overnight as I decided what to do. And I talked to my one partner and said that I don't want to do this. I don't want to go on. And he was wonderful and held my hand and said, you're strong and you will get through it. It was then I spoke to my therapist and said I need guidance, and realized that addiction was definitely something that was a large part of what I was dealing with. I just didn't want to accept it, and I didn't really recognize it, even though it was in the receipts, quite literally.
Did you accept that you were at this point addicted to cocaine?
Yeah. I'm addicted to addictions. It's my personality.
Well, again, anything to avoid just-in-use pain, right? That's what addiction basically is, usually. It's just trying to get around, away from that part of you that's screaming for some nurturing.
And it's funny because my use was always something that was to get more joy and to get more euphoria. So if I was happy, that was the time to actually pick up. When I was sad, I kind of wanted just to be sad, but
it was like to really accentuate the joy.
Yeah.
Sort of take it higher, literally.
Always.
Yeah.
And so from there, I spoke to my therapist and said, it's time, let's get me into a rehab program. I had already been an outpatient, and it was too lax for what I needed at this time. And so I went into inpatient for 30 days.
What was that like? I think of those often as being sort of tough love based.
It was at first culture shock. Truly, the first week I was in the psych ward that I was admitted to by myself, and it was the longest week I ever experienced, because you were really just alone in your thoughts and in a room with a few other people, and there's not much to do at all, and there's nothing you're allowed to have. But
could you have books? Or?
Yes, books and and crayons. There was no blunt objects.
Okay. Could you watch Netflix or TV?
We had a TV we could share, but excuse me. I apologize. Sorry.
Okay.
We had a TV we could share, and actually, I love bonding with my other fellow inmates at home. But yeah.
And then, what was the other time of this recovery?
Then the rest was in the rehabilitation program. And at first I said it was culture shock because I was there for a white collar drug, essentially, that's expensive. And I grew up very differently than a lot of the people that I was in the program with. I went downtown in Lower East Side. And then I learned to love it and realized it was kind of like school, in the sense you're really learning about what is going on with your body and your mind. And there were group therapy every day, there's individual therapy, and there were activities. And then I accepted the fact that this is a great time for me to actually stop thinking about the outside world and just think about me, which I don't do or didn't do for so many years.
There was no escaping or hiding from the pain.
No.
But you faced it. At any time, did you say, like, fuck it, I'm out of here?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first week, especially, I
What kept you going? What kept you staying there even when you wanted to get out?
knowing that I needed to come out on the other side with skills and with heart and faith in myself. So you learn that, I mean, initially I was going for my family and for people in my life that cared about me. And while that is great and noble, I had to go for myself, or I wasn't going for any other reason that would work.
So what skills or tools did you learn or have you been practicing over this past year
I'm in a program now, so it's like I said, full-time recovery, and it's incredible. I've learned self-love.
What does that mean?
Oh, self-love is ownership of who I am, unabashedly. Whether that means me being a whore, if that means being an artist, if that means my personality traits, and it's all part of me. And if you don't like it, then that's a you problem, not mine anymore.
Yeah. So that people pleasing, to be liked or trying to make everybody happy, is not the dominating, not driving right now.
No, and it feels really good.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And you're still in regular therapy?
Yes.
Does that person use a certain theoretical orientation that works with you? Like, do they ever say, like, this is the framework I'm using with you, or talk about that?
Luckily, they're attached, my therapist and my program too, so it is kind of the same.
Okay, so there's consistency across the board.
Yeah, which I need right now.
Yeah. Do you go to meetings or attend support meetings?
Do recovery groups, and to be honest with you, at this time, meetings like AA did not work for me. I believe that the ideas of ultimatums and absolutes are very much pressure inducing. And for somebody who was the golden boy for all these years and caved because of the pressure to be that staple, that exemplar, I don't want to do that again, and it caused me to lapse.
Okay. When did you lapse?
That was in shortly after, about a month after rehab. And so this program is much different, and it's a harm reduction model.
Okay, so harm reduction. Can you speak to the difference between
Yes.
the harm reduction model and the traditional recovery model?
Traditional recovery means absolute abstinence.
Yeah.
It means that you are not using any substance, not just the one that you have an issue with. And it means that you follow, there's a 12-step guide typically that people follow. You find a home group, you have a sponsor, and you make it your mission to ensure that you stay sober for yourself and for those in your life. A harm reduction model is one that is sort of a more choose your own adventure. There are some people in the program who choose to be sober but go about it in a weaning off manner instead of going cold turkey. And if you make a mistake, if you, let's say, you have a little lapse, you have a skip, you don't restart counting days. You just acknowledge it, you figure out how it got there, what your triggers were, and you move forward and learn.
So that when one relapses or uses a drug again, that's sort of where there's room for learning and growth.
I mean, the
and
whole
understanding.
entire time there's room for learning because you're learning about yourself, because you're in this program, intensively, and I have a peer group that I spend all my time with, essentially, and it's been amazing having others in my circle really understand me more than anyone I've ever had.
And in these circles, in these groups, does Justin too get to show up?
It's all just in Yeah.
How does that feel?
Great.
Like to be vulnerable with Justin too, and still have people really, really like you and want to know you.
It's amazing. It's like I said, I feel complete, and I think because I've given a voice to Justin 1 for so long and ignored Justin 2, and here I am.
I appreciate that. I love the way you say that. Yeah. And I do believe, this is my own belief, just that harm reduction is a much more inclusive, comprehensive model, especially with LGBTQ populations, in terms of this persistent discovery, exploration, and growth. And I do say, people have heard me say this in the tub, and people who know me have said, like, okay, so if we're talking the recovery model, and we're talking pure sobriety, almost always, there's like, okay, I talk about I've had this many days sober, I've had this many days clean, and meanwhile, one hand is smoking a cigarette, the other hand's drinking a cup of coffee, and I'm looking at that donut across the room. And I'm like, how is that not using substances to alter your mood?
Right.
Like caffeine and nicotine and sugar are substances that we use on a daily, or a lot of us use on a daily basis to manage our mood or our anxiety. And typically we don't see that as not being sober, but they are mood-altering drugs. So that's my little tangent, but I'm just like, I think instead harm reduction, which is one where we do look at the individual and we do look at the needs and we do say, okay, so if substances of any kind are or if there's even a pattern of trying to escape your feelings, and if that is still going to happen from time to time, how can we reduce the harm? How can we keep you alive?
Exactly.
Right? And continue to embrace that part of you that's afraid to be seen.
I think a part of it is also afraid of messing up and disappointing others. And I'll be honest here, this model that I'm in, this program, it's made many people in my life unhappy because they expect or they only understand one way of recovery, and that's abstinence.
Right. So they only get, because I mean that's really the primary narrative in our culture is in the U.S. anyway,
Right.
is that abstinence model. Again, I'm putting abstinence in quotes because if you're still drinking coffee and or smoking or vaping, you ain't abstinent. But okay, but that's so people have been critical of that model.
Yeah, more they concerned in their own way, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. But I had to do my recovery my way.
Yeah,
it's my journey.
Yeah. Okay, and you don't have to defend or apologize that or.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
And that feels great too.
So this connecting now, just in one and just in two, that has been an active integration over this past year. Do you take any medications for depression?
I do.
How do those feel? Like, do those work for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I highly recommend people seeking help in any way, whether it's therapy or psychiatry, both medication. It just take a look, because if you want to really achieve finding out who you are and being comfortable in your skin, then sometimes you need a little extra help.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Was there ever a time you were resistant or reluctant to take medications?
Mm-hmm.
Did it take you a while to find the correct medication?
Yeah, years. For sure.
How did you find the right medication? The right dosage?
In recovery. It's been great doctors.
So was it during that 30-day rehab that there was a chance to really get a chance to see what works for you in the best way possible? Okay. So medication then has been helpful this year in terms of integrating. And I say that because I know a lot of people think of medications as something that they don't want to do. And I've often seen medications help exactly what you're describing. It's like, it helps me do this work that is making my life meaningful and joyful. That helps me to be here.
It's just another tool.
Yeah.
And if it's your decision. If you don't want to use it, then you don't. But it can't hurt to at least explore.
Yeah. For you, are there any spiritual practices or any models that feel like a fit for you as you've been integrating this past year?
So on my arm I have tattooed my drawing of Tina Turner.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Who is my...
For those who know me and know my work, Tina is a big part of that.
Tina is my my guru.
Yeah.
And because of her, I started exploring Zen Buddhism.
Yes.
And I think I've always practiced what their teachings are, and it was just finding a name for it. And I'm transitioning. I took a little pause because I have some other projects in the works that are taking a little precedence. But I think once I have my faith, I think my guiding light and my higher power is love. As silly as it may sound, I was raised in a family where you do anything for anybody without question. You help and you be kind and you love everybody. Again, without fail, and with fervor. And I have had many loves. I've had many people in my life that I care about, and that's my North Star.
How about love for Justin? Both of them.
Oh, it is bar none right now. It's great.
Okay. So that love, and in Buddhism, that's not an inner process, that's an interconnected energy, right? That we all share. But when we can have that be our compass, our North Star, it can make life a lot easier. Relationships a lot more satisfying.
It has been the most gratifying and wonderful period right now, finally feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
And listening to that heart.
Did you read Tina's book?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. What I love about Tina is it's so many things, but that she waited till she was 80 to put all this down, and she kind of knew that her body's life was short. But it was during COVID, she was kind of like, all right, I better do this now. And she really articulated a lot of her practice, how she came to Buddhism, some of her struggles in her 30s with Buddhism, and then how that's really brought into the spotlight the Tina we know today as the icon, as sort of the beacon of light. But that wasn't by itself. That was through regular, consistent practice that she describes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And how I just think if that person could endure and come out a phoenix, then anyone's possibilities are endless.
Including you.
Including me.
So what do those possibilities feel like and look like for you today?
My art, accomplishing goals that I set aside, that I've always been putting off. A book that I'd like to about this, not about suicide. The tentative title is A Gentleman's Guide to Slutty Sex.
Yes!
It's essentially the ethical slut, but for gay men. All about how to pick up men with kindness and silliness, and anecdotes and some stories, and I may have some great stories. It's also about being unashamed and about your sexuality, because I definitely am not, and that is also why I decided to do my OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. It's NYC Meatball is my name.
Okay.
And if I move, it'll have to be just Meatball with a different city.
Uh-huh.
And the whole purpose of it is porn that I have not been seeing. It's about connectivity, it's about intimacy, passion, and more so, it's a documentary-style diary of my sex life.
So are these people that you just meet, or are these people?
Yes, there's no forced collaborations. It's like picking up anybody on the street, not literally, but or off an app, or even if there's like a porn star or something that I'm attracted to, reach out and try naturally and go from there. Yeah. And then I'm also combining the two, artworks of every encounter that I have and creating a series for that.
Wow. So you're doing an art series about your sexual encounters.
Correct.
And recording them.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. I wish I could give the link, but because this is YouTube, I can't give you the link. However, y'all know how to use Google and to find NYC Meatball at OnlyFans.
Yeah.
If I try it on YouTube,
it's okay.
They're going to cancel me like that.
It's all good.
So what does that mean to you to be sexually empowered and expressive today?
It means that I have finally become the modern male Ava Gardner.
I love that. My father was like so in love with Ava Gardner. Oh. So I appreciate that reference very much.
I say that I walk with Ava Gardner's panther stride, and I'm unashamed of who I am, and I own my sex.
Yeah. I
am Rita Hayworth's complexities and her silkiness, and I know how to be smoky in the right way, and hit Bacall's wit and sense of self and sense of self-worth, and I'm not going to settle for less. And it's all about seduction, but love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Do you ever think about hurting yourself at this point?
No. Next question.
Okay.
It's a hard no.
Okay. And in terms of your wellness and self-care, what do you see? How do you see the tools that are going to keep you on this track that you're on today?
It's going to keep me balanced and keep me doing what I think is the healthiest for me in that moment. I don't know what is in store for me the next 3 months, let's say, or rather after. I know more of my program and how long I'll be in there. I know I'm now having to get back into the art world and career path.
Yeah.
And possibly, do I leave New York?
How do you feel about that?
Great.
Yeah.
I've been here 39 years. And I think I need something else, just a different perspective.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll happen because New York has a tendency to suck my family. And
Uh-huh.
for 150 years we've been here. And my great-grandfather had a message that it made, New York made him who he was and made him a powerhouse, and it would make me a star.
Wow. Okay.
So, again, some more heavy-handed words to my family to live by.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you very much.
The personal, vulnerable part of your experience is so generous to share.
Thank you.
And it's very specific and it's so universal. For so many people, especially gay men, we have this personality, number one, right? That we learn and sometimes have to learn to survive growing up queer, growing up different in some way. That we learn how to people please, we learn how to shine, we learn how to smile. But at the cost of neglecting that inner part that doesn't always feel happy, that doesn't always feel nice, that doesn't always feel good. And I love the way you really talk about integrating these two parts of who you are. You know, and as you're getting ready for the 40s,
Yeah.
I can tell you that I've seen that when people do this work, this hard work, and go through pain and trauma, it's often in the 40s when this kind of comes together in a way, like it did for Tina, that it comes together in a way where that phoenix just takes flight. Like all of this hard labor you've been doing and all this work you've been doing on your body, mind, and spirit just come together in a way that lead you to shine. And I absolutely see that for you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you have stayed here to see that for yourself.
I am too.
I'm grateful to you.
Very much.
Oh, so I've always been, I'm grateful to you because I met you when you were waiting at Barracuda.
Excess.
Excess.
Yeah, I was 22.
Yeah. And I would go there to do vaccine trial outreach. And sometimes people were not nice to me, but you were always so kind, bringing me water, bringing me whatever. It's like you were always so kind. It's like even if somebody was being shady or mean, you were always there to sort of give me a smile. And I've always valued that.
Thank you.
At excess, sorry. Not very good.
May she rest. Excess.
Yeah. So, that is what you bring. And I think sometimes you hear that. Sometimes, like I've never told you, I don't think I've ever told you that before. So I just want you to know that. And I'm sorry I never told you that in the whole 15 years I've known you. But it just reminds me to tell the people in my life, and maybe reminds you to tell people in your life that you're grateful for, that make your day or your experience a little better.
One thing I'll leave everybody with is that my dad taught me to tell somebody how you make them feel, especially if it's positive, because you don't know when it will be your last opportunity.
Yeah.
And to love. And don't be ashamed about feeling that way. There are some people who are very scared of their emotions, who quiver and shun and don't want to actually emote because it's scary and it's not easy to live in your emotions when appropriate.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to imbibe into others.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for just staying alive.
I appreciate it too.
Okay. People want to follow your work. Again, I can't list OnlyFans because of YouTube, but where else can people see your work or follow your journey?
You can see my Instagram, Justin T. Russo.
Okay.
You could check out my website, justintrusso.com. And my Twitter, NYC Meatball 666.
Okay, that I'm allowed to say, I think. And if you like this interview, subscribe. This is the 5th season of just understanding journeys and experiences, tragedies, triumphs, and understanding what that means for us. And as a community, we can support each other in ascending.
Very much. Instead of the other way around. So if you like this, subscribe, watch the show, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye.